The following content is intended as general information only and is not to be relied upon as constituting legal, financial, or other professional advice. A professional advisor should be consulted regarding your specific situation. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date at time of broadcast, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the authors as of the date of broadcast and are subject to change. No endorsement of any third parties or their advice, opinions, information, products, or services is expressly given or implied by Royal Bank of Canada or any of its affiliates.
Buying or selling a home requires specialists from multiple related fields. Hear everything you need to know direct from the source as the Real Estate Roundtable presents Ask the Expert.
And today we welcome Jan Reyes of R.B.C. Mortgages.
Welcome to the show, Jan.
Thanks for having me, you guys. This is really exciting.
Tell me, what can people expect when securing a mortgage during the home buying process?
Well, I'd like to preface this by saying every situation is going to be a little bit different. I like to keep things tidy and organized. I like to have kind of an order of operations when we do things. Bo's probably going to tell you guys the whole process is going to be really emotional. I assume you've told clients that. What my job is I like to make sure that things are just about as easy peasy as possible.
Right.
So to give you an example of what my interaction looks like, everything is going to start off with a phone call. And right then and there, we're going to talk about what to expect throughout the next few weeks, months, however long it takes. The biggest thing that I would like to get out of the way is documentation. If you want this process to happen as easy as possible, I'm going to ask you to bring a whole bunch of documents right up front at the beginning. The worst thing that could happen is me chasing clients around for documentation, making things longer, making things more stressful.
Especially right when maybe there's an offer on the table and you need to follow that timeline really quickly.
We don't work during bank hours. We don't work 9 to 5. Sometimes
Right.
Bo's going to need an answer at 7 p.m. that night. I want to be ready for when Bo says, hey, listen, we need an answer tonight.
Yep, we're writing an offer right now. I need to know.
Yeah. So as much as we can, let's get all the boring documentation out of the way. We'll get you pre-approved. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then as many of the variables we can take out right at the beginning, let's do that. And let's make it easy peasy right till the end.
Plus, you're mobile. So,
Yeah.
Of course, people can fax in and email in those documents. But if you need to go somewhere to pick something up, you can do that. You're not stuck behind the desk.
There has to be at least one-on-one meeting. I definitely need to know that you really exist, clients. But yeah, once we have that established, let's use technology as much as we can, email, fax, whatever it may be, and let's get this done for you as easy as possible.
Now, this is a question for both of you. Why is it so important to have pre-approval in hand before you start looking for your home?
The way I look at that is I want to make Bo's life as easy as possible.
Thank you.
I did say it a couple times that this whole process, starting with Bo, it's very, very emotional. So when we take out a lot of the variables, when we can say, hey, listen, your financing looks pretty fantastic, you're pre-approved, that gives Bo and yourself the confidence to start looking at houses. The worst thing that could happen to us is you guys fall in love with 2 or 3 houses, you make an offer, and then unfortunately have to say no at the end.
Can't afford it.
We didn't properly do things. So
a lot of times too, a bank will, let's say, pre-approve somebody for $300,000. That doesn't mean you have to spend $300,000. You'll come to me and say, you know what, my max is $275,000, and that's fine. I respect that. We set up the search to go up to $275,000. But you know what? What's going to happen invariably is we're going to look at a bunch of houses and they might not be up to your standards. And we stumble across one that's $290,000. And it's nice to know that we can at least make an offer on that. It's nice to know going in that is, if you choose to go that high, that you're going to be approved for it. We don't fall in love with houses and then discover that you're out by $25,000. So it's very, very important to set our standards, to set our expectations and know how far we can go.
Is it also good to have that extra headroom in case a bidding war happens?
Absolutely. And you know what? I totally respect buyers that come and say, oh, I'm never going to get involved in a bidding war. I don't want that. That's easy to say until you walk into that house that has absolutely everything you want, and wouldn't you know it, it also has absolutely everything that 3 other people want. So I don't want to get in a bidding war means that you only accept the house that nobody else wants, and that's just not reality.
My experience when I bought my first home, my wife and I, we weren't going to settle for any old home. This is the house that we were going to live in for the next 10, 15 years. We were going to raise both of our beautiful daughters in this house until whenever they wanted to leave. And we fell in love with every home that we put an offer in. And that doesn't mean that we were going to get that home. And I guess we didn't understand that concept. So I hadn't met Bo yet. But when my realtor told us that we didn't get the first and the second and the third house, man, the conversation at home wasn't the funnest.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you still in your original home?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, that's no good. How long you been there?
I've been there now for about 4.5 years. So
okay, it's time to talk.
It's time to talk. If I can, I'd like to talk about one more thing about pre-approvals. They are fantastic. But there's a notion there that people think that because I'm pre-approved, I am good to go. There's nothing wrong could happen with the financing.
Yep.
Really, the simplest way I can put a pre-approval is we're going to take a look at your finances, and we're going to take a look at numbers. We're going to take a look at your credit. We're going to take a look at your relationship with Royal Bank, whatever that may be. And we're going to say, yeah, financially, you look pretty good, and you should be able to afford a such and such amount on the home. But there are other factors. So Bo can talk to you about financing conditions and all of that good stuff. It's still a good thing to have. I want to give you a specific example. I gave a pre-approval to a client. Financially, they were perfect. They were really good. They went and put an offer on a home. We had to send out an appraiser on the home, and the home itself didn't meet our standards. So that effectively could decline your application. No matter how great your finances are. So don't get me wrong, pre-approvals are fantastic. It takes 80% of the worry out, but it's not the end-all, be-all in your home buying process.
Especially in a case where somebody is putting down less than 20%, there is still CMHC.
Yes.
And they will definitely take the house into account. And then I guess in this case, what you're talking about is you had to do an appraisal. Somebody actually put down more than 20%. Am I right?
Mm-hmm, correct.
I guess they overpaid for the house or whatever happened. I don't know what the scenario was.
So a good specialist or a good mortgage professional will outline on your pre-approval that you're good for the finances, but there will be that part on the letter that says maybe you should still consider putting a financing condition. I'll leave that to you and Bo because something could happen at the end, and we just want to make sure we're okay.
Jan, when it comes down to payment and amortization, what should people really focus on?
So this is going to come up a couple times throughout our review when we sit down and we talk about your situation and what type and what kind of mortgage is going to be the best fit for you. I'm obviously going to guide you through all of that good stuff. But how you're going to want to look at it is what your goals are. So everybody can say, yes, I want a mortgage for 100 years so my payment is as low as possible, right?
That'd be nice.
No, disclaimer, we don't have 100-year mortgages. Just because you heard this doesn't
you
mean
heard
you
it
can
from Jan.
Yeah.
I am calling about the 100-year mortgage.
Totally. Now we can lock you in for 100 years, and what happens is let's say 20 years down the line, or more realistically, we set you up for a 20 or 25-year mortgage. The payments are nice and easy, but you don't want to stay there forever, do you? So maybe this is your first home, and maybe you have a couple kids down the line and you've outgrown the home. Or is the plan really to stay there for the next 10, 15, 20 years? For my clients who do expect to stay in their home for an extended period of time, we should set a goal to get that mortgage paid off as quick as possible. One of the things I really believe in is the bank, or myself, I represent the bank, we make quite a bit of money off of the interest that you make on the mortgage, but I want you to pay that thing off as quick as possible. I want you to be as financially free as possible, as soon as possible. So we're going to sit down and talk about those goals as well. So I want to say here that people get really hung up on an interest rate. Yes, you can save yourself 0.5% here and there going to somebody else. A couple of things you're going to want to figure out is, number one, affordability. Is this going to make sense for me? Am I paying extra fees when I'm looking at a lower rate? That's
Hidden
a
fees.
big thing, yeah. Are all the fees up front, or are they hiding anything? I mean, when you're paying for a premium product, like a mortgage is a premium mortgage product with a premium institution like we are you paying for the correct type of product for you? Are you paying for what you should be getting? So I'm a little bit all over the place, but please just don't take a look at the interest rate and go with that.
We'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the show in our roundtable.
Yeah.
Because consumers do have options. They can go to one of the big banks. They can go to a mortgage broker. They can go to a credit union. And each one of those options, in my mind, has an advantage. But sometimes those advantages come at a cost. And I'm looking forward to talking to you about that at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Now, Jan, what are some of the biggest benefits to seeing a mortgage specialist?
As a whole, a mortgage specialist is going to be there from the beginning of the process right until the end and beyond. And I don't work bank hours. You'll see some banks now, they close on Mondays, unfortunately. I will work that Monday that the bank is closed. To give you an example, I've got a couple Boeing clients or in that industry. They get off at 1 a.m. in the morning, and I have been known to pick up my phone and meet them at Tim Hortons or a coffee place and do a mortgage application right then and there. So I'm available for you all the time. Hey, my phone is going to be on all the time. Will I answer every time?
Well, that's
Maybe
what I say.
not. Yeah,
that's what I say. Yeah.
But my voicemail is available too. But I will. I will be happy to work with you whenever, wherever you'd like, as long as it's in the city.
Excellent.
Jan Reyes is with R.B.C. Mortgages. Jan, how can people reach you if they want more information, such as the list of documents they need to prepare?
And that 100-year mortgage.
I didn't promise a 100-year mortgage.
No backseas, outsies.
My main contact is obviously my phone. Give me a call anytime. Like I said, I work all hours. That number is 204-510-5709. Conversely, you can email me. My email address is my first name, Jan, Jan, .Reyes, R-E-Y-E-S, so jan.reyes at rbc.com. One more time, jan.reyes at rbc.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Jan, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you guys for allowing me to be here. It was awesome.
Ask the Expert is a monthly feature on the Real Estate Roundtable. To hear the latest full episodes of the show, go to iTunes or Stitcher.com and search for Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast.